Alright. Alright, let's get this show on the road. We have 332 plushies to get through. Yippee! Some of the plushies I'll have more to say about, like how I got them, how much I like them, or anything funny I have to say associated with them. But also, given that there are well over 300 of them, others I will have nothing to say about other than their name, and then I'll just throw them in the back like so. Let us begin. And of course, who better to start with than my first ever plushie, Teddy, who is of course my first ever teddy bear. My mom got him in New York for me when I was just a wee little bablet, and I honestly don't know the store where he came from, but I do know that it's now defunct. Either way, he's one of my favorite plushies ever because he's just so articulable, and his hands can clap because they have beans in them. Honestly, one of my favorites for both nostalgia and honestly just sticking around for this long. I like this guy a lot. Next up is this turtle plushie. I think this may have come from the same store as Teddy back there, and I honestly always associate this turtle with him, but I honestly couldn't tell you why. Maybe I just subconsciously know they're basically the same, or maybe it's just because they're two of my oldest plushies ever. Still, a pretty generic one, but one I'm very happy to have. Next up is this little orange cat. If any of you have watched my 69 subscriber special, you'll know very well who this cat is in my videos. But as an actual plushie, it's one of my oldest ones and one of my favorites. It's lasted the test of time, but I think it isn't from the same store as those two. I have nothing to back that up, but I have nothing to say that it is from the same store as them either. No matter what, it's one of my oldest plushies and one of my favorites. And of course, what's a cat without a dog? This little beagle, I think, I don't know dog breeds, I'm not a dog person, is in the same boat as all of them. It's one of my oldest plushies from a little kid, and it stood the test of time, and is one of my most nostalgic favorites. And next is this little blue bear plushie. Pretty much ditto of everyone else, although interestingly, it has a similar ribbon to the cat plushie, and has a striking resemblance to Teddy. I don't know. Next up is this little salamander. Blue on the top, orange on the bottom, another oldie, but another favorite. And next is the second plushie that I actually have a proper nickname for, like Teddy. This is Floppy Giraffe. It's a giraffe plushie, as you can clearly tell, and it is very floppy, as you can clearly tell. There's no articulation in it to actually make it like an actual giraffe, although I did used to have a giraffe plushie that was like that, but unfortunately, we had to give it away. Regardless, this is one of my favorites simply for its name, and again, nostalgia. And next, the 2-for-1 special. Here are my two pug plushies. One is sitting down, one is laying flat on its belly. They're both very cute, probably more cute than the actual dogs are, despite the fact that I am a really big pug lover, and know the problems that are associated with that. Regardless, I love these two pugs with all of my heart. Next up is this little penguin plush. Pretty generic, and oddly feels very hollow despite the fact it's been able to maintain its shape for all these years. Next up, we have another plushie that lays on its belly, this polar bear plushie. Not much else to say about it, but it is another softie, an oldie, and a very nostalgic one. And next up is this moose plushie. I believe it used to have a shirt on, but at one point I took it off, and I guess just lost it, because I have no idea where it is now. And next up is another one that actually has a proper name, only because it's appeared in a series that maybe 5 of you have seen. Here's Phoebe, from Competition Plush. I mean, it's really just a generic rabbit plushie, but for the sake of it being in Competition Plush and having an actual name, she is forever Phoebe to me. Not much else to say about it, an old one that I didn't really have much affection for a while, until I actually gave her a little personality and name in my videos, and now she's one of my favorites, which I think I've said about every single one here. Next up, we got this floppy blue spider plushie. And then this blue macaw. At least I think that's what it's called. Believe me, it's been a long time since I've seen Rio. Next up, we have Cool Shark. At least that's what I call it. It's kind of just another generic plushie that I probably won at a fair. And next, this little dino plushie, which bears a striking resemblance to that one Mario character from, what, Mario 64 or something? Its name escapes me, but it does look like it, but it is really just a kind of generic dinosaur plushie. Still, a fun comparison. Next, we got jolly old Saint Nick himself, complete with a Merry Christmas sign, even though I'm filming this in May. And next is a trio that, again, much like Phoebe, I hope that at least 5 of you are familiar with. Here are the Love Puppy Brothers from my Competition Plush and Battle of the Plushies series. I love these guys. They're just little Valentine's dogs, but honestly, I can't find images of them anywhere online, and all of them have their own unique quirks. Love Puppy Brother 3 here holds his little heart with just like a few strings, honestly. I probably got to thread that together at some point. Love Puppy Brother 2 only has one eye because he fell off our loft. The eye popped out. We were going to replace it, and then I guess we just threw it away probably. And then there's one who has the most holding on his heart out of all of them, but he has his one arm free. Either way, these are honestly some of my favorites, mostly just because of how much they've appeared in my videos, and ironically, I love them a lot. Next up, we have this little goldfish plushie, who I have nicknamed Goldie Goldfish for no particular reason. Next, we have this white tiger plushie, whose eyes could stare into your freaking soul. And next we have this dolphin plushie, whose eyes could also stare into your soul if they weren't a little bit droopy. Then there's quite possibly the smallest plushie of today, this little chick plushie, or duckling, I honestly couldn't tell you. And next we have this little chef hand puppet plushie. I'm sure everyone has seen this guy on YouTube in some form or another, for better or worse, but I like him a lot. He's fun to mess around with. And next is another kind of special one. Here is my pillow pet, a dog one. I don't know if any of you even know what pillow pets are, but I certainly do, and I call mine here Poppy. Next we have this little black dog who is absolutely the most normal dog we'll ever see today. And next is this cheap cat plushie that I probably wanted at a fair and that my animals have definitely chewed on its whiskers. I don't like it very much, but it counts as one of my plushies. Next is this little Santa Bear plushie. His beard's definitely falling off, but he's one that I've had a lot of fun with in my videos. And next, we have this Turtle Hospital plushie and this oddly realistic Dolphin plushie. These were both purchased during a school field trip to Florida at a, well, Turtle Hospital and Dolphin Hospital. Fun places with a lot of good memories and some great plushies to go along with it. And finally, to cap off the generic plushies that I'm the only person who really knows about, we have these two giant adorable cherries, which were partially bought with some of my friends' money, my own money, and a little bit of strangers' money when I was taking too long at the cashier. Anyway, I'm very happy to have them, and they will forever sit on the top of my desk as the best decorations I've ever wasted like 30 bucks on. And so, that's all of my quote-unquote generic plushies that I own. A whopping 33 of them. But now, we'll start moving into territory that you all are more familiar with. And of course, starting now with Mario plushies, who better to begin with than the man himself? One of my oldest plushies, given that he is Mario, he has a weird thing with his hands where the string on one of them broke, but rather than just ruining the hand, he now just has his palm open rather than a closed fist. And honestly, I love it. I love it a lot. I wish more plushies had this kind of thing. And it just adds more character to this Mario plushie. And what's Mario without Green Mario? Here's Luigi, who I actually bought before Mario from Toys R Us when I was a really little kid. He doesn't have the same hand problem as Mario, but I like this Luigi a lot too. I don't have the actual Sanny, like Nintendo World Mario and Luigi plushies, but honestly, I don't want them. These two have a lot of character and nostalgia to them, and I love them a lot. Next up we have Princess Peach, the only princess I have in my collection, but I am looking to remedy that here soon. And next up, Toad, the second oldest Mario plushie I have in my collection. Same Toys R Us as Mario and Luigi, but I bought him way before the other two. And for a while, he was the only Mario plushie I had, or video game plushie I had, disregarding the Mario plushie I got before him, but we'll get to that one later. And next we have the blue and yellow Toads from New Super Mario Bros. I actually got Blue Toad way before Yellow Toad. In fact, I think I had Blue Toad before I had Mario. But once again, he's stood the test of time and has been a very quality plush. Yellow Toad's a lot more firm than Blue Toad, but I like him a lot too. Honestly, some of my favorites, and I do like that they are both very distinctive from my older and regular Toad plush. And next, Captain Toad. I honestly had no idea Captain Toad even had a plush until I saw it on Amazon, but once I did saw it, I snatched it up immediately because, God, this is a great plush. And the final Toad in my collection, here's Toadette, who has a weird thing with her ponytails both going off to one side and only having one arm raised. Still, gives her a lot of character. Next up we have Yoshi. And next we have Bigger Yoshi. This is the third Mario plush I ever had, and was once again an acquisition from Toys R Us. Though unlike Mario, Luigi, and the Toads, Yoshi's the only one that I felt the need to buy a different one, because this one's a lot bigger than anyone else, and also doesn't sit like the actual Sandy one does. But still, I'd never get rid of this one. And next up is, of course, Birdo. Birdo is unironically one of my favorite Mario characters, and my go-to for both Mario Party and Mario Kart, so I had to get a plushie of Birdo. And next up are my two multicolored Yoshis I own, Pink and White Yoshi. I've had White Yoshi a lot longer, but both are very high quality, and I do like that they are both distinctive and smaller from the Green Yoshi. Makes that one seem like the main character, whereas these two are just part of the same species. And next up is Baby Luigi. Not Baby Mario. I've had Baby Luigi for ages, but I couldn't tell you why I don't have Baby Mario. I just haven't been bothered, I guess. And next up is the leader of the bunch. You know him well. Here's Donkey Kong, who I'm including in the Mario section because of his inclusion in the Mario movie, multiple Mario spin-off games, and the fact that I only have 2 DK plushies and that's not worth a whole section dedicated to himself. And of course, here's Diddy Kong. He and DK are my most recent Mario acquisitions of them all, and I'm very happy to finally have them. And here's the Fat Man himself. I've considered replacing this Wario with the Sandy one for a little while now, but honestly I don't think I can bring myself to do it. This Wario is just way too classic. And of course, the lanky boy himself, who has had this one leg fallen off more times than I could count. And finally, we're moving into the big bads. Here's Bowser. You'll know this Bowser as it's my channel icon, and a Bowser that I use in my videos for a long time. But as you'll also know, not anymore. And here's my new Bowser plushie. And oh my god, this one is a straight upgrade in every regard. I have a lot of nostalgia for the old one, and I will absolutely never get rid of it as a plushie or my channel icon. But oh my god, this one is just Bowser in every conceivable way and is so much better. And here's Bowser Jr. There's not much to say about him, but I do plan on getting all the other Koopalings very soon. And now we're moving on to the enemies. Here's Goomba. And Koopa. And another Koopa. And not only is this another Koopa, but it's not only the first Mario plushie I ever had, but the first video game plushie I ever had too. This Koopa Troopa is the start of it all. And as you can see, he's gotten a little dirty over time, but he is still an absolute favorite of mine, simply for being the beginning of all of this crap. Next up is the Shy Guy. A Bob-omb. A Boo. A Lakitu. A Dry Bones, who is a lot bigger than all the other enemies I own. A Wiggler. A Pokey. And who I lovingly dub, Sledge Bro. This is actually a boomerang bro, as you can tell, but he's also clearly holding a hammer. And this is because I ordered both this and a regular hammer bro who was actually holding a boomerang. That's not what they were intended to do. I assume it's a factory error, but I love it, and I still have Sledge Bro here. I don't have the Hammer Bro, though, because he accidentally had a fate to meet with one of my dogs, but I do still have the boomerang that he held, and I will forever keep it in memory of him. And the last Mario plushie I have is Mario again, but one who is a lot bigger and a lot flimsier. And there's Mario, 33 plushies in total, just like the generic plushies. But now we're moving into the series that has the third most plushies out of my entire collection, so prepare your defenses, because a huge wave of zombies is coming. And beginning the PvZ section is Sunflower, the first Plants vs. Zombies plushie I ever got. And as you can see, she's had a little bit of wear and tear over the years, but is still a great plushie. Although she was ordered alongside about 4 other PvZ plushies, she arrived way before all the others, and it took a long time for her to arrive anyways. US shipping back in the day was not that great. Next up we have Pea Shooter, of course, but this isn't that great of a Pea Shooter. It's very floppy in the neck area, and its back little leaf is just a flat, paper thing. So I would like to get another Pea Shooter, but for the time being, this one's fine. Next is Cherry Bomb. I do actually still have the leaf for these guys, but it fell off at one point and I never have been bothered to put it back. Other than that, pretty stock standard Cherry Bomb plushie. Next we have the round boy himself, Walnut. And next is Snow Pea, who has all the exact same problems as Pea Shooter. Let this be known to anyone ordering PvZ plushies. Do not order them together on Amazon, because you will just get cheap pieces of crap. Order them separately, and if you can, find someone you trust on eBay or something. And next we have Sunshroom, one of my favorite PvZ plushies, mostly just because of the face. It seriously elevates what would have been probably a pretty boring PvZ plush otherwise. Next is Fume Shroom, who is significantly smaller than Sunshroom and also should probably see a chiropractor. Whatever. Next we have Hypno Shroom, who is significantly smaller than Fume Shroom. Go figure. And next up we have Squash, another oldie of mine, but another favorite. He was ordered alongside Sunflower and came significantly later than her, but honestly, he was worth the wait. And next we have Jalapeno, another favorite of mine, just because the design is so perfect, and I love the addition of the lily pad that actually makes him stand upright. Otherwise, it would have probably been a pretty meh plush. And next is the final plant plush I ordered alongside Sunflower and Squash. Cactus. A pretty good plush overall, but again, has seen better days due to the test of time. And next are the only duplicate PvZ plushies I have. First up is this really mini split pea plushie. One that I ordered a long time ago right after Squash, Cactus, and Sunflower, and one that I kind of regretted because he's so tiny. Look at him compared to Jalapeno and frickin' Sunshroom. Next we have this medium/small split pea. I ordered it assuming it would be a regular size split pea, on par with Pea Shooter's plushie, but as it turns out, I was wrong. And the final split pea I have is this proper split pea plushie, a very firm plush and a very high quality one. One of the few PvZ plushies on the plant side that I am very confident is completely legitimate, and one that I am very happy to own. Especially in comparison to the other two. Like, look at that difference. Next up we have Colonel Polt. And Marigold. And Melon Polt. I don't have Cabbage Polt because the one I actually want is really hard to find, and I have yet to do it yet. Maybe someday. Next up we have Twin Sunflower. And Cattail, who has seen better days and is also significantly smaller than a lot of the other ones. I want to get the other Cattail plushie that's out there, but I just haven't yet. And now on to the only PvZ2 plushies I have, for the plants at least. Here's Bloomerang, who I've got relatively recent, and who's not the greatest, but I'm happy to have him anyways. And then we have Bonk Choi, who's definitely lost some articulation in his arms over time, and who I've also had for significantly longer than Bloomerang, but I like him a lot because of that. Now, that's all the plants I own, but what's a Plants vs. Zombies game without a horde to go with it? Here's my basic brown coat zombie, whose head is surprisingly really round, and is one of the other plushies I ordered alongside Sunflower, and Squash, and Cactus, and is one who I'm very happy to still have. And next up is, of course, the ever-famous Conehead zombie with the crazy Jack-in-the-Box zombie face. The final one I ordered alongside the regular zombie, and Sunflower, and Squash, and Cactus, and is probably, once again, as I've said many times in this video, one of my favorites. Then we have the Pole Vault zombie. I honestly have no idea how this really insignificant zombie who's only ever appeared in the first PvZ game has gotten so much merchandise, but I'm all for it because I'm a big Pole Vault zombie fan, and this is honestly one of the best PvZ plushies I have. Next up is, of course, the ever-iconic newspaper zombie plush. And then the Duck Tube zombie plush, who has a much more accurate zombie-shaped head than my regular zombie does. Next up is the Dolphin Rider zombie, another really strange zombie to make a plush out of, but much like Pole Vault zombie, is honestly one of the best in my entire collection. And next up is this definitely knockoff zombie plushie, but one that I'm fine having because it's actually kind of perfect for the Bungie zombie. And next is the Gargantuar plushie, who looks absolutely nothing like any Gargantuar in any PvZ game. Not the clothes, not the face, not even the imp on the back, who, yes, I have gotten to become removable, but I won't do it right now. Even if this doesn't look like a real Gargantuar, it's still a wonderful plush and a really, really fun one to mess around with. But even if the imp on the Gargantuar isn't that accurate, I do have a nice accurate imp plushie that looks spectacular. The last PvZ1 plush I have, sort of, is this zombie. I think it's based off one of the Zomboder zombie customizations you can do, but I like to call it the Grasshead zombie for obvious reasons. And the first of my PvZ2 plushies will begin with the Raw zombie. This is the first of many weird PvZ2 plushies that have the zombies give this weird green tint to their skin. It doesn't look like anything from the actual game, and it's definitely because these are just cheap knockoff plushies. But they're good cheap knockoff plushies, and I quite like them, especially the Raw zombie. Next up is the Egyptian Buckethead zombie, who is a weird anomaly and the only zombie that looks like this at all. Not even in the games does any Buckethead zombie or Ancient Egypt zombie even look like this, but honestly that just makes him look more unique. Skipping over Pirate Seas because I don't own any pirate zombies, we go to the Wild West with my first cowboy zombie plush, and one whose shirt really does not like to stay on all that much. Next we have another cowboy zombie plush with a better shirt and a better cowboy hat in all honesty, but the same weird green skin tone as the Raw zombie. Still, like this one a lot. And next is this cowboy zombie, who looks nothing like anything found anywhere in Plants vs. Zombies, and honestly, that's kinda why I like him. And the final Wild West zombie in my possession is the Bull Riding Imp. One that actually does look very accurate to the actual Bull Riding Imp, if a little bit too big compared to it. Still, very happy to have this one. Skipping over the far future, because I honestly don't think there are any far future plushies for the zombies, we have the Night Zombie. One of my favorites because of the actual accurate Night helmet, the shoulders, and this little sword that the Night Zombie doesn't have, but adds a little bit more character to it. Of course, it also has the weird green skin tone, but honestly, that's par for the course for PvZ2 plushies. And the second Dark Age plushie I have is the Jester Zombie. And honestly, I like this one a lot more than the Night Zombie. Much like all the other zombies with the weird green skin tone, I can look past it because this just actually really looks like the Jester Zombie. The colors may not be accurate entirely, but honestly, it doesn't matter because I still really like it. And the last three zombies I own hail from Big Wave Beach, starting with the Bikini Zombie. And then we have the Big Wave Beach Flag Zombie, who I'm honestly ecstatic that they made such a weird and obscure zombie a plush, and honestly not even that bad of a one at that. This is a really good plush. And to wrap up the PvZ plush collection, we have the ever-infuriating Surfer Zombie. And that is the full collection of Plants vs. Zombies plushies I have. A grand total of 42, the third most out of any series I have. And honestly, we've had a lot of big numbers recently. 33 Mario, 33 General plushies, and 42 PvZ ones. Thank God we've got a smaller section to go over next. Before I begin the Angry Birds section properly, I should note that all Angry Birds plushies come in one of two sizes, big and small. We'll just start with the big birds first because they're easier to take up all the background space with. So, here is my big red plushie, who I have sometimes used as Terrence in my videos. Next is my singular big plushie of the blues, in fact, the only plushie of the blues I have. Next is Big Chuck. And Big Bomb. And Big Al. Honestly, the big Angry Birds plushies are very high quality and very good plushies. I just don't like them as much because they kind of clash with all the other pigs in their small and big sizes. And now we start the smaller Angry Birds. First up is Smaller Red, or just Red, as I'm going to refer to the smaller ones for the rest of this video. Although I guess that's actually a lie, because here is Smaller Chuck. And I say Smaller Chuck because he's even smaller than Red, and all the other small Angry Birds plushies. Next up we have Bomb. And Matilda, who I honestly don't think even has a big version, considering I've never seen one. Then we have Al. And the final bird, Bubbles. And now we move on to the pigs, who, much like the birds, do have two different sizes that they come in, but unlike the birds, I like to mesh them together because they kind of fit with the pig's aesthetic. That being said, here is King Pig, who is technically a big plush. Then we have Mustache Pig, who is a small plush. And then the poor old beaten up Helmet Pig plush, who is again a big one. Next up we have my two small Minion Pig plushies, and my big Minion Pig plushie. I like this one a lot, it's very high quality. And the final Angry Birds plushie I have is this little girl pig plush. And so, that's the Angry Bird plushies. Only 18, a very small number in comparison to all the other ones we've gone over. But don't worry, because After Angry Birds is the second largest collection I have. Can you survive it? I don't know if I can.